Hello, and thanks for joining us today. I'm super excited you could be here because today we're talking about a topic we have never talked about before, but is amazing opportunity for you if you're looking for a primary, even a secondary income stream. And it's basically to do with senior housing. So today we're actually going to give you the blueprint to succeed with investing and being part of senior housing. And again, I'm not going to give you all the insight because I have an expert here to do that for you. So with us today is Isabelle Guarino. Now, Isabelle is the Chief Operating Officer of Impact Housing Group and a leading trainer at the Residential Assisted Living Academy with a background in business marketing and communications, including experience at Walt Disney World and 2 Fortune 500 companies. Isabelle has become a dynamic leader in the business development and operations world. She has been instrumental in launching major industry initiatives such as the RAL National Convention, Recovery Housing Academy, and Pitch Masters Academy, driving success across Impact Housing Group companies. Now, a two-time best-selling author of Living Legacy and host of the Young Boss podcast, Isabelle is widely recognized for her expertise. She's been named a future leader in senior housing, one of the top senior housing influencers under 30, and among the top 5 disruptive entrepreneurs going into 2023. Featured on platforms like Bigger Pockets, The Wealthy Way podcast, and Sales Disruptors. She's a sought-after speaker and coach of residential assisted living, helping thousands of investors and entrepreneurs do good and do well, which I love that. Isabelle's mission is to positively impact 10 million people through residential assisted living by continuing her father's legacy. As the nation's top coach and trainer in RAL, she shares her insights nationwide, empowering young professionals and seasoned leaders alike to succeed in business leadership and growth while creating lasting social impact. Isabelle, thanks for joining us today.
Look at that. That was a mouthful. You did it. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Good. Well, thank you for coming. So my mouth got really dry and then I drank water. Then it went down the wrong tube. And I've never edited a podcast to this point. So I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to cry and push through. That's where we are.
Live.
So I have to ask you, I mean, I've never even heard of this before. Well, I guess let's just start there. Like, what are we talking about? When we're talking about senior housing and we're talking about assisted living, like, give me some insight into what you do, what you actually do.
Yeah. Okay. So most people have heard of senior housing in the sense of the large commercial assisted living facilities, the Brookdale, Sunrise, Atrium, the big, huge ones with multiple floors, long hallways, impersonal staff. What we found was that approach is frankly terrible. You're getting awful care, it's ridiculously expensive, and no one wants to age or pass on in a place that doesn't feel like home. My own grandmother needed care and assistance, and so we were looking for something suitable for her. And we had experience in the single family game. We had been doing, fix and flip and wholesale. We'd been doing long-term and short-term rentals. And when we realized that there was an opportunity to blend assisted living with residential real estate, we knew that we had kind of hit a gold mine. So what we do is we ourselves, as well as we teach other people how to take single family homes, nice luxury, homes in nice parts of town, not like 3-bed, 2 baths, but nice single family homes, and turn them into residential assisted living homes for seniors so that a senior can age in somewhere that feels like a home, because it's not just home like, it's an actual home. And it's been a really fun ride.
I have never even heard of this before. Like, I'm embarrassed to say, like, I've been financial services for decades. Real estate investors is one of the top markets that we serve. And I've never even heard of this before. So you're taking residential properties and then converting them to a point. But how many people can you fit in one? Like if I have a 5-bedroom house, how is that broken up? Can it only fit 4 or 5 people, for example?
Most seniors do want their own private bedroom and private bathroom. So you're going to renovate the home to be able to accommodate as many seniors as you are allowed in that area. Depending on where you live in the country, you'll be allowed to have somewhere between 6 and 16 residents in the home. So in Arizona, I'm limited to 10. In Florida, you're limited to 12. So you may start with a home that's a 6.5, but you're going to convert it to become somewhere closer to like a 10.8 or a 12.10, something like that. So most of the seniors can have their own bedrooms and bathrooms.
What about zoning? How
It's
would that work?
still zoned residential.
So they're zoned residential, and it's okay that I'm running an assisted living facility out of a home that's zoned residential in most states.
In every state. We have students in all 50 states who are doing this. So because it's a licensed property and we are protected by the Federal Fair Housing Act, a federal law, no city, state, angry neighbor, HOA, whoever can say no. These literally can exist anywhere in any neighborhood. An HOA can say, hey, the home can't look different from an outside, right? You can't remove a garage or different things like that, but they cannot say that we can't be there. We're federally protected.
Which I love that, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Completely not associated, but I do that with my dogs. I always get them certified because I have a German Shepherd. Everybody picks on her because she's a German Shepherd. But then when I have a certification, like nobody can mess with her.
Yep.
So, okay, so let's talk about this. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to buy, let's just say a 5-bedroom home. And
Okay.
I'm in Florida and we pack them in there, apparently in Florida, because we got 12 in one house we're allowed to do. So now I'm breaking this up into to units where everybody's comfortable, everybody has a good sized bedroom, stuff like that. So the very first step is I'm finding the right property, I'm buying the right property, then I'm buying it right, and then I'm coming in and I'm basically rehabbing this property to fit the criteria that I need it to fit. Now I've done all that. So as the investor, what are the next steps that I would take?
If you're just going to be on the real estate side of it, then you would be leasing it out to an operator who's going to run the business in the home. And you could be making twice the fair market rent just renting out your property, right? And they're signing a 3, 5, 8, I've seen 10 or 12-year contracts because they're going to be running this business in your home, and the business is based on the location. So they don't want to be kicked out. It's not a single family who, you need to find a new tenant every year. They want to be there. If you also, so that's one option. You can just own the real estate. The other option, and this is what we do because you can control the most and make the most money this way, is we're the operators. I spend 5 hours a week on 3 of my care homes here in the Phoenix market. It's not that much work to be the operator. What you're doing in the beginning is the work. You're hiring the licensed appropriate staff who's going to work day to day in the home, caring for the seniors and making sure that all of that's up and running. You're setting the marketing and relationships in place to have that steady flow of seniors coming in. And, you're setting up the systems more or less. But once you have all that in place, it can be quite hands off.
So it really depends. I can either be on the real estate side, churn and burn, find these properties, build them out, hand them over to operators, or just stay with the property and then maybe go and do another one and another one. Well, what do you think makes this an opportunity? Because there's a lot of types of real estate. And by the way, again, embarrassed to say, never really know much about this one. So what makes this such a unique and profitable way to go in real estate versus other options?
There's really 2 big parts of this that we should point on. Number one is the supply and demand. The baby boomers, they're not into assisted living yet. They're still, the eldest of the baby boomers is still about 5 years out from needing care and assistance. So right now, the silent generation is who lives in assisted living, and there's 47 million people in that generation. There's 76 million baby boomers. They're not in assisted living yet, and we are currently 1.3 million beds short. We have a major crisis on our hands as a country. With the baby boomers coming into this, there is not enough beds. The cost of care has gone up 87% over the last 20 years, and it's projected to skyrocket. Average cost of a person living in a home right now is $5,500 per month per resident. So if you have 10 residents in at that, even if your mortgage is 10K and maybe it costs you 35K a month to run the home, you are cash flowing as the owner operator $10,000 a month on one single family home. So on one side, we've got economy playing in our favor, economics and all of the aging population, the silver tsunami of seniors, as we call it. On the other side, it's a hugely lucrative opportunity. So it's kind of the best of both worlds.
How do I even go about finding the right kind of property? Like, what kind of criteria am I looking at to find the right property?
Think 300 to 500 square feet per resident. You do want it to be demographically in an area where the majority population is 50 to 70 years old, making 2 times the median income, homeowners, college grads. So a nicer area, not because that person is moving into the home, that person is the adult child of the person moving into your home. And they are making most of the decisions at that point in life. So they don't want to drive 45 minutes outside of town because it's cheaper. They want to drive 5 minutes on their way home from work to go visit mom or dad. So you want to target the adult children and be right where they live, eat, work, sleep, play.
What about typical investment? Like what kind of loans am I getting on something like this?
SBA 7A and 504 loans are super friendly to this. We have people who work with our students all across the country who lend out on this. You can do hard money or bank loans, but we really lean towards SBA as well as private money or syndications. We all know there's a bunch of people getting like not a lot of money with not a lot of return with their money sitting in the bank. And if you can offer them 6, 7, 8, 9% on their money, they would be willing to invest in you, especially that this is a topic that really hits home. We're all aging, and 70% of us are going to need daily care for an average of 3.5 years. Everyone's going to get involved in senior housing one way or the other. Either eventually you'll be lying in the bed or writing the check for someone who is, or you could be owning the real estate, cash flowing, having a place for your loved ones or yourself if and when you ever need assistance. But we're all going to get involved some way, somehow.
This. Like it's just so smart. Like not even really knowing this existed. Because I think about my mom and dad, right? And that's like a worry. I don't want to put them into a freaking home for all the same stereotypes that you have a home, right? But then
Yep.
what do you do? Like if you do home health care, that's expensive. And I might have the means to pay for it, but a lot of people don't have the means to be able to pay for something like that at all. And I never even knew there was another option, but this like makes so much more sense because they're living in like a normal house. Like I was gonna get my parents like a house on the beach with somebody taking care of them. That's expensive. But
So
like
expensive.
this is like makes a lot of sense. It doesn't sound like it's any more than them staying in like one of the regular horrible facilities. But they actually have like a nice kind of close-knit group of friends and like a phenomenal environment. I just think this is so smart.
One of the biggest things most people don't realize is exactly that, the cost of in-home care. So many people have promised their loved ones, like, hey, I'll let you stay at home and I'll get you in-home care. The cost right now, the average cost is $33 an hour. So if your loved one's to the point where they need 24/7 care, that's over $23,000 a month just for care. Not the mortgage, not the food, not the utilities, medication, whatever. Many Americans can't afford that. So then they start to say, oh my goodness, what do we do? Does someone quit their job and take care of mom or dad full time? I don't know about you, but I wasn't born to be a caregiver, right? It's just not in my blood. That's not who I am. But what I am born to do is run businesses and operate businesses. So if I can create a business that gives my loved ones exactly what they need with people who are born to do that job and love doing it, then that really is where it all makes sense.
I never even thought about that angle. I mean, like, so my parents can get old enough and I can do this as a business to make sure they're taken care of. And then it costs me nothing. I can actually make money. Like I have my parents in the house. Heck, I could even bring their friends into the house where they're aging with their closest friends and then make it a business, not trying where I'm trying to profit, but I mean I'm saying like I go from $23,000 a month to zero because I'm actually making money on the property. I never even thought of it from that angle.
That's why so many people come to learn from us. We've been teaching people for the last 10 years, but so many people come because they are either caring for their loved one and they're like, I can't do it anymore. They're doing in-home care, it's insanely expensive, or their loved one had a terrible time at a large facility. We hear stories of abuse and neglect and just the reality is in the big boxes, the ratios of seniors to caregivers, it's typically 30 seniors to one caregiver. One person cannot take care of 30 people. Like it should be illegal.
We don't even
But
do that in schools. Like we wouldn't even do that in a school with
thank you.
students. That's crazy.
Thank you. And these are high need human beings. If you need help getting out of bed just to go to the bathroom, you need help wiping yourself and showering and eating and taking medication. A 30-to-1 ratio does not work for high need. So in our homes, we recommend a 4-to-1 or 5-to-1 ratio. So if you're paying the same, but your care ratio is so much greater, you're actually getting, to me, what you paid for. You're getting the quality attention. You're in that smaller environment. You still have fun activities. You still have socialization. You still have a private bedroom, but it comes down to the care and the environment. And that's why RAL is such a sweet option.
And by the way, you're at residential assisted living academy.com, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so everybody wants to follow along. You can check that out now. We'll talk about it at the end of our show as well. But that's residential assisted living academy.com. So make sure you check it out. So you talked about the business experience. What do I need to get into this? Like, I mean, we're talking about real estate, we're talking about business, we're talking about healthcare. So, like, do I need experience in all three or any of these areas to jump into the academy and be able to figure this out?
We have had people who are 17 years old who've opened care homes and others who are 72, and they have nothing in common besides the fact that they both wanted to be in this industry. So you do not need a medical background. You don't even need a real estate background. You just need to have grit and be willing to jump through the hoops to make it happen and actually set up the business well. So if you do have medical experience, I will say that it can be a feather in your cap because you can market the home that way as doctor owned or nurse owned, but you do not need it because you are not working in the home. You are not living in the home. You're hiring that staff to do this. So anybody can get involved and it doesn't matter your background, but if you do have real estate background, maybe that part will be easier for you. And if you are a medical professional, you can help market your home and get even higher paying clients because of that.
So angry about this 30-to-1. Like, I'm really mad. Like, I can't even,
It,
that's legal. Like, that just really angers me.
I'm actually happy that you're mad because so many people, when I say this every day, I'm preaching this all the time, and they're just like, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, no, this should piss us off. Like, we
Yeah.
should be like shut down these places. People ask about COVID all the time. They're like, wasn't that terrible for you guys? And I'm like, not for us. We can control who comes in and out the door. 97% of COVID cases happened in the large facilities. And to me, there was way more unnecessary deaths happening because people shoving food under the door, people being left alone for days on end. Like that is just showing a glimpse of what's happening in those facilities. In our homes, rarely was there COVID happening. People were still functioning, having activities, visiting with people safely, of course. But it just goes to show smaller is better and it is safer as well.
So, what kind of licensing, legal requirements are there? I mean, I know it varies state by state, but in general, what am I looking at here to be able to launch a facility like this?
So the physical home is going to have a license on it, and that's based on points of egress, square footage, wide enough hallways and doorways. It doesn't have to be ADA compliant, but you want it as close to that as possible. So you do want it to really look and feel nice and roomy and cozy in that way and have enough space for them to move and groove around. The licensed administrator is one of the biggest hiring decisions you're making. That person is kind of like your property manager in the real estate world. They are running all of the day to day within the home and they have a license. They hire your licensed caregivers who do the 24/7 care of the residents. So you, as the owner operator, do not have a license, but the home does, the administrator does, and the caregivers do.
Now, the money that comes in, does that usually come in from the government or it comes from the individual that's actually putting their loved one there?
We focus only on private pay residents. So usually they're using their cash, their savings, their IRAs, they're selling physical properties that they own and using that capital to pay for their care needs, or their adult children are footing the bill. We have some residents who may have VA benefits, and 10% of the population has long-term care insurance. So if you have that, you can use that. We avoid any government funding, Medicaid, Medicare. It pays out really, really low. And usually families who are relying on that, they don't have any additional income to foot the rest of the bill. So you just end up short every month and it's not worth it.
So, what are the biggest challenges that your students face that you see when they're jumping in this trying to succeed?
I think the biggest challenge in this industry is people. And I don't mean the seniors, because many times the seniors are lovely, they're amazing, they're actually like just dolls, but it's just all the people involved. It could be the family of the senior who has really high needs, really high expectations. And to be frank, it's an extremely emotional time putting your loved one into a care home. You feel guilty, you feel maybe angry, you feel relief, you feel like it's so many mixed emotions that you don't know what you're getting out of this person at this point in time. So the families can be very difficult to deal with. And then the caregivers, that is the number one most in-demand job in our country right now is home health aides and caregivers. We do not have enough people getting into this industry. And the people who are in this industry, in my opinion, the ones who are working in big boxes, they're being used and abused, not paid enough, not treated well, and they're not able to do the thing that they actually signed up to do when the ratios are against them. They're not being paid very much. Caregivers get paid minimum wage plus a couple dollars an hour. You can go get that at In-N-Out or Chick-fil-A these days. So what makes them want to go do this job that is a tough job? It's their heart. Like they love seniors and they wouldn't want to do anything else. So we have to, in any business, I think, treat like for me as the owner, the staff is my client, not the senior. I focus all my energy and effort on getting that staff to feel loved, appreciated, respected, paid well, what they want, what they need to thrive and survive in this industry so that they treat the seniors amazingly. Because if I only focus on the seniors and skip over them, they're not going to last. We're going to churn and burn and we're going to have a revolving door. But if I focus my effort on giving them everything, they will want to do the same for the seniors. And really, I think that's true of any business, but especially true in RAL.
Give me an idea what this looks like. What does a property look like? I mean, I can visualize that it's the rooms, and I would, is it, well, actually, I'll let you describe it. So like, what does this look like? Put a visual in my head of what a normal, if there is a normal type of property looks like that fits
Yeah.
this.
It's not pad split where it's just the whole house is chopped up into bedrooms and bathrooms, right? We still have a beautiful living room when you walk in. You'll still want a dining room. Many of these homes have movie theaters, salons. Like these are luxury homes in really nice parts of town. Many bedrooms and bathrooms, a nice backyard with walking paths and gardens and seating areas. You'll have a nice kitchen. You want multiple places for the seniors to go hang out and function and live life. There's usually an office somewhere in the house for the administrator to take, personal meetings with family members or different things like that. But it's just really a luxurious house in a nice part of town with a great backyard, lots of bedrooms and bathrooms, but all the same things you or I may have in our own home.
I'm familiar with Phoenix area. I spent a lot of time out there. So if I'm buying one of these properties in Phoenix, and let's say that I'm going to put 10 residents in there, $1 million, somewhere in that price range is what I'm probably paying.
Easy, easy. Depending on where you are in the country, it could be between, I mean, on the lowest end, I'd say like 700,000, but we have a lot of students who have homes up to 3 million depending on their market. So in the Phoenix market, you're going to be 1 million or more easily.
So let's talk about your higher end. If you're talking about someone that has a $3 million property, how many residents are in there?
I would hope that that's a home that has 14 up to 16. Like you would want to maximize that because if your mortgage is going to be 30,000 a month, let's call it, right? Then you're going to need to be bringing in enough income to afford that. The math always has to work. So we do have students who have mortgages of $35,000 a month, but their rates are like $8,000 a month and they have 16 residents in there and they're still cash flowing almost $40,000 a month on one home. So the sky is kind of the limit. We always encourage people to have 3 homes, a 3 pack, within 20 to 40 minutes of each other so you can share resources. But some of these homes, some of our students are like, hey, 40K on one home, I'm good. That's all I need.
Sure, yeah, it makes sense. But then, and if you think about that though, you've got that 40K, you've got to pay the caregivers, the staff, all of that, which I think, and then you're down to like, I mean, is there an average profit that you're actually making on one of these properties? I know you mentioned 10K earlier, just as we were throwing numbers out.
Yep, 10K was that super average 10-bed home. But no, that 40 was net take home. The gross for 16 residents at $8,000 a month is 128,000
Yeah.
gross.
I was
So
doing the
now,
math at 5,500, which is where I got stuck. I was
okay,
80,
okay,
but I
yeah.
didn't really do the math of 80.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So then we take out the mortgage, then we take out paying the care staff and stuff like that. So there is a big lift. Like there are a lot of expenses in the industry. Not just the mortgage, but the care staff. It costs usually it's 40% of your total expenses goes for the staff. And the less you want to be involved, the more you're going to be paying out on that
Sure. Yeah.
levels to it. So I like to pay more and make a little bit less. Like some of my homes, if I went and visited them every day, I might be able to make 15,000. I don't want to. So I make 10 so that I can pay for extra, people in between me and the home so I don't have to be as hands-on.
And I got to buy everything else. I got to buy like the kits and the medical stuff. I got to buy the food, all that stuff as well on a regular basis.
That's part of all the expenses in. Exactly. So the senior who's living in the home, their fee, it's covering all of that for them. It's their room, their board, their activities, their food, their care, their, everything, part of the utilities. That's what they're paying for at that time in life. So a lot of people will be like, 5,500. Oh my God, that's so expensive. And I'm like, pause. How much does it cost you to live every single month? Now think if you had a private chef, activities coming to your house every day, laundry, housekeeping, someone wiping your bum, bathing you, making your bed. Pretty sure it cost you more than 5,500. This is kind of a steal of a deal,
Yeah. Yeah. I wish like one of my expenses was 5,500. That would be fantastic.
right?
So a lot of people in business I find and a lot in our audience are all entrepreneurs. They always try to figure out how to get leads. So what does that look like? What kind of strategies are out there to be able to even attract potential residents into the property once you have it all set up?
The biggest and most important thing is setting it up in the right location first, because location will be everything. I get people all the time who like listen to a podcast or a YouTube video and they're like, oh my God, I did this and I started this home and I don't have any residents. What did I do wrong? And I'm like, oh my gosh, like location is everything. So it is real estate at the end of the day. You want to make sure you're located properly. But there are so many ways to fill the beds. And with the coming silver tsunami of seniors, if you are not full, I'm going to be real blunt right here. It is 100% your fault because there is an entire industry of people called placement agents. And what they do is they're kind of like a realtor for bodies. If you need assisted living, your family usually finds a placement agent and it costs the family nothing. They ask you, hey, what location, what amenities, what price point do you want or need? They tour you around to different homes. And if they choose your home, you as the homeowner pay half of the first month's rent to that placement agent. For someone who's going to live with me for an average of 3.5 years at six, seven, eight, $9,000 a month, I will pay half of a first month's rent. Like this is, I will pay for speed all day long. So you can work with placement agents, but you also need everything else you need for a business. You need a Facebook page, you need a website, you need brochures and business cards, and you want to start building relationships in the communities. Geriatric doctors, hospice agencies, elder law attorneys, churches, synagogues, temples. These are all amazing referral sources for you that don't cost a dime. So there's a mix between online marketing, as well as having your placement agents, as well as having the community relationships. But with all three of those legs, running at the same time, you should be full for sure.
I love it. Isabel, where can somebody go that's watching this? This is crazy. I want to learn more because we just scratched the surface. There's so many things that I'm sure a lot of people have questions on. Where can they go? What should they do to be able to learn more?
RAL101.com is a great website to go check out. We've got free books, free webinars. You can schedule a call with me or the team right there. We'd love to chat with you if you've got a property in mind or any questions. So RAL101.com.
So make sure RAL101.com, and that's a great landing page. It kind of gives you everything that you need. You can even schedule an enrollment car there as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, cool. Thank you so much for tuning in, or thank you very much for coming on today. I really appreciate it.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right, so listen, if you're watching this, this is ridiculous, right? I don't know about you, but I've never heard anything like this before. And it makes so much sense. I don't know about your parents and where they are in life, but this is exactly what I would want for my parents. It's one of the most common sense things I've seen. I'm still really angry about the 30 to 1. I cannot even believe that that's legal in our country, right? But that's what our parents are headed towards if you're there, right? So this is something that you should really think about with your heart because this solves a major problem. And this could be a ridiculously lucrative business for you. This is a section of the real estate side that not a lot of people are in. So there's a massive opportunity with like 1.3 million, I think they're negative out there looking for properties for. And you know, but something that a lot of people don't know. So it's a phenomenal opportunity to get in to really make a difference in what's happening in society, to be able to potentially learn something that could even help your elders in their later years as well, and maybe even yourself. And it helps get you into real estate, make a difference, and create a really lucrative business. So what you should do right now is make sure that you go to RAL101.com. If you go to RAL101.com, then right away what you're going to see is you're going to be able to see a video that you're able to walk through and start getting some answers on right now. This will give you some education. Then you're able to enroll in a course that'll give you a lot more education there as well. You're able to come in and you're able to get your Silvers to Tsunami book for free on there as well. There's just a ton of stuff. I mean, there's a lot of resources that you can grab right now to be able to learn more. And it's all in one place, which is RAL101.com. So make sure you check it out today, RAL101.com. It's going to expose you a little bit to the academy. And again, what's nice is they offer an academy that teaches you every single thing you need to know to be successful. Even I'm sure, imagine you can also work with other members, see the case studies and everything about the success that they're having. So make sure you check it out right now, RAL101.com. That's RAL101.com. Thank you very much for tuning in. Take care. Have a great day.